Welcome to the Weekly Pop. I'm Jeremy, and I appreciate you coming by to talk some Game of Thrones with me. I fucking love this show. It's obviously the greatest thing that's ever been on television, and it beats the shit out of most of what comes into the movie theaters, if not everything. The way that George R.R. Martin was able to build this world unto itself with such rich history and characters and religion and politics and anything you can think of is stuffed into this one brilliant piece of kind of filmmaking, but actually television making. It's the most theatrical thing that's ever been on TV. With such rich details throughout the entire series, it's almost impossible to catch everything the first time around. So I've been reading articles and watching YouTube videos and anything else you can think of to try to get a better understanding about everything that's happening in this story. But more importantly than that, I've got a buddy named Jonathan at work who is a fucking walking, talking encyclopedia of Game of Thrones knowledge. And I was able to sit down and talk with him on this show, so without further ado, let's check that out.
There's two different theories, Azor Ahai and the Prince That Was Promised, that come from different areas, but there's a big chance that they're the same person, and then it's possible that Azor Ahai and the Prince That Was Promised are two people that have to work together to defeat the Night's King. Prince That Was Promised is...
He's going to bring an end to the...
Azor Ahai is supposed to bring an end to the night, to the long night.
Okay.
The long night happened 8,000 years ago, and Azor Ahai, using the weapon of Lightbringer, defeated the Night's King, and the others went away. The others are what they refer to as White Walkers in the books. The Lightbringer is the weapon that will be used. The prophecy was that Azor Ahai created Lightbringer by working on his weapon for an extended amount of time, and then when he tried to temper it, it was in water and it shattered. So he tried again for a longer period of time, and the second time he stuck it into the heart of a lion, and it still shattered. And the third time, he had his wife come forward after he'd worked on it for a long period of time and told her to expose her breast and then stabbed her in the heart, and the weapon did not shatter. It absorbed her soul into it. All of her warmth is said to have went into the sword, and the sword came out on fire, and it was known as Lightbringer. And it was used to defeat the long night and bring an end to the cold that had washed over the land and killed almost everyone.
And then the Prince That Was Promised is...
It's a different prophecy that's around the same wording as Azor Ahai. It's just from a different area. And it's possible that the Prince That Was Promised is supposed to bring an end to the long night. Azor Ahai is said to have defeated the long night. So those are just a little bit different in the wording. It's possible maybe the Prince That Was Promised, because in Valyrian, Prince can be male or female.
Right.
And the Red Priestess Lady Melisandre talked about it in Season 7, that it could be male or female, that in Valyrian, Prince is male or female. So it's possible Dany could be the Prince That Was Promised, and Jon Snow could be Azor Ahai. It's possible for either one of them. Melisandre asked Rollar, talking into the fire several times, to show her who the Prince That Was Promised was, who Azor Ahai reincarnated was, and all he ever showed her was snow. That could be symbolism for Jon Snow.
Sure. Like a lion may be symbolism for a Lannister.
Right. The sword that was put through the heart that still shattered on the second try, that could have been a Lannister. And then it's possible that Azor Ahai is not even Jon Snow. It could be Jaime. When, Jaime's most likely going to kill Cersei.
Sure, I think we can agree on that anyway.
Jaime's most likely going to kill Cersei, and that could be him stabbing his heart through the second one. So the first one could have been one of the other random people that he has killed. That was the water, and then killing his sister could be the second one. That's killing a lion. And the third one would have to be kill his wife. So if he does kill Cersei and marries someone else, most likely person I see him marrying is probably Brienne of Tarth.
You can tell they got something.
I know Tormund's not going to be happy about that, but Tormund possibly might die soon. You never know. He's stuck up on top of that wall right now, and he's got to go through a whole horde of zombies to
it
get
looked
back.
pretty fucking grim for him as it was. I mean, he might have been the only part of the wall that didn't get knocked down.
He was the only part of the wall that get knocked down if you watch it real closely, but in order to get back to Winterfell, he's got a whole horde of dragons, the Night's King, a bunch of White Walkers. it's going to be hard for him to get back. So he might not make it.
Yeah. Of course, we did see that whole, like, kind of Band of Brothers mission where the zombies are, like, running up past them, or the White Walker, the whites are running up past them on the sides, and it's like, man, they are totally fucked. They surround them, like, and then the ice freezes over, or the ice is thawed out.
They said that several hours, a whole day had went by, so that gave it time to refreeze. I've Googled it, and it takes 48 hours for a lake to freeze that quickly. So we'll just call it 2 days, which sounds about right, considering they sent Gendry to run all the way back, and they want to pull a lot of crazy timeline jumps real quickly this season.
Yeah.
But they didn't feel like they needed to show us people on a boat for 2 episodes anymore, because they don't have time for that.
Yeah. And plus, people get a little antsy, during the show as it is. You get an hour episode, and then you're like, come on. Can't wait for the next one to come out. That was the good thing about me binging it. But yeah, man, is it possible that Azor Ahai could be the same thing as the prince that was promised, just a misinterpretation or translation?
It's possible. The original description of when Azor Ahai was going to be reborn would be amongst salt and smoke, beneath a bleeding red star. There's been several cases of bleeding red stars that could be used as symbolism to describe when Azor Ahai was reborn. When Dany walked into the fire and came out with the dragons, there was a shooting red star that flew over the earth.
And that takes care of 2 of the things, the sand and the fire, right?
Salt and smoke.
Okay,
salt and
yeah.
Smoke.
Okay.
I don't know what you would call the salt unless it's just the sweat from being in the desert, but there was definitely smoke. She burned her husband, she burned the witch, and she walked into the fire and burned her dead baby's body as well. It was all in that fire. So that's one instance of the bleeding red star. Jon Snow was born beneath the dawn of the morning sword, and it was covered in blood from his mom's death at his birth. That sword was actually made from a meteorite. That was Sir Arthur Dayne's sword. Sir Arthur Dayne's family built that sword from a meteor when it crashed into the earth.
Right.
So that's a shooting star. It was covered in blood when Jon Snow was born. So that's 2 major chances of Azor Ahai right there.
That's so, man, this fucking guy, like, we worked together, and I watched the show within, like, a 3-month period, and I could come and ask Jonathan. He was, like, my supplemental material for this shit, because it is crazy how deep this stuff goes, and that you have a pretty firm grasp on everything that's going on. When we were talking a little bit before, like, I can talk about any of this stuff ahead of time, and we did a reaction video or a discussion, Jeremy and I, the other day, and he was like, you didn't bring up the Azor Ahai thing. That's like the most fucking important part of the entire series.
I think Azor Ahai is going to be the most important part of what we find out in Season 8, because that's the only thing that matters. It's the person that defeats the Night's King, the person that gets rid of the White Walkers. And there's also the prediction that Azor Ahai could possibly be Bran, that he's the one that was meant to fight the Night's King. But I don't think it's Bran. I actually think Bran is going to end up becoming the Night's King, but that's a whole different matter.
Yeah. And, man, it's just crazy because every character kind of has to serve a purpose, and it doesn't seem like the Three-Eyed Raven would also fulfill another prophecy as far as Brandon's concerned, Right.
I'm not even sure exactly what the Three-Eyed Raven's prophecy is besides being able to travel through time and being the seer of everything. I believe that the original Three-Eyed Raven that gave Bran the powers might have had more going on than he let on with Bran. That he might have had ulterior motives.
Really?
Yeah, he can't die until he passes on the power, for one. He might have been tired of living. When you see everything, you might get tired of that eventually. If Dany and Jon Snow are if one of them is Azor Ahai is going to have to kill their spouse in the end to create Lightbringer, which means that they're going to have to kill one of the other of them and use their soul in the sword as Lightbringer to defeat the Night's King, if it is one of those 2. Which means either Jon Snow or Dany's going to have to die for good. And it's probably going to be Dany.
I agree. That's what I was about to ask, who you thought it was actually going to be. And I think because of her callous in a lot of ways, and because of her belief that she is the true heir to the throne, which we'll talk about all that shit another time. But it seems like she's going to learn that Jon is this noble character that we've come to know him as, and decide that she's dying anyways or whatever, and let him kill her.
One of the prophecies that she was given by the witch, I believe, in season 1 was that she will be betrayed for gold, for I believe it was honor, and the last one was for love. She has not been betrayed for love yet. She's been betrayed all the other ways, because she was betrayed by Jorah in season 1. She was betrayed by the guy who offered her the house that she locked into the vault in season 2.
Even her brother, potentially.
Even her brother basically betrayed her. She believed her entire life that she was going to be married to him when she became of age, and he married her off to somebody else for some horses and an army that he never even got.
No. He got a golden crown for that. So it was gold, it was betrayal, and it was love. Okay.
The second one, I think, was honor, not betrayal.
Oh,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
betrayed for
Okay.
honor.
Yeah.
But she's been betrayed every one of the ways to fit the prophecy but love so far. And she's going to fall in love with Jon Snow. I see it coming.
The only other person up to this point that it could be, and again, we've only got 8 episodes left, or 6 episodes left, so we've got to tie up a lot of loose ends. Daario is out of the equation at this point,
Daario's
right?
out of the equation. She left him a Marine. She might call on him at the last second as backup reinforcement of an army, but he only has 2,000 men. That's so small of an army. It really can't do any good. He's really just holding the peace in Marine right now.
Right.
And somebody has to hold in peace in Marine, and he's probably living like a king over there because there's nobody to tell him what to do. He's in charge now.
Yeah, for
he
sure.
probably doesn't want to come back.
So anything else to touch on this? Oh, hold on, I forgot our sponsor. This episode's brought to you by Toilet Water. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming by, Jonathan. Appreciate you shedding a little light, or maybe confusing the fuck out of us a little bit more.
No problem. I'll come back anytime.
Peace.